10 Best Movies About Forbidden Love, ranked. According to Adam and Eve, forbidden fruit tastes the sweetest, although we all know how that worked out for them. From children, we all have to tame an inner yearning to go against the grain, to do things we are told strictly not to. Yet, as the saying goes, all's fair in love and war, and with love having such a tumultuous set of emotions, it is simply impossible to control who one falls in love with. In our increasingly progressive society, the concept of forbidden love doesn't mean as much as it once did. However, prior to developments in social attitudes, anything from someone's social class to their sexual orientation to their race dictated who it was appropriate for them to fall in love with. Inevitably, stories of forbidden love have been the basis for a number of movies over the years, all of varying qualities. So, with that in mind, here's a look at just some of the best movies about forbidden love. 10. Moonrise Kingdom, 2012. Wes Anderson's underrated masterpiece, Moonrise Kingdom, tackles the subject of forbidden love in the acclaimed director's signature style. A coming-of-age story, the film follows a 12-year-old orphan boy named Sam, Jared Gilman, who flees from a scouting summer camp in order to start a new life with his pen pal, Susie, Kara Hayward, who is forbidden from seeing him by her parents. The pair run away together, prompting a search party to go looking for them. A hit with critics, the film was nominated for Best Original Screenplay at the 85th Academy Awards ceremony in 2013. 9. Romeo and Juliet, 1996. The tale of Romeo and Juliet is, arguably, the original forbidden love story, and while Baz Luhrmann's modern adaptation of the famous Shakespeare play titled Romeo and Juliet makes several notable tweaks to the original source material, it retains this key element. As with the play, the 1996 film chronicles the impermissible relationship between Romeo Montague, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Juliette Capulet, Claire Danes, who fall in love in the middle of a bloody family feud involving their warring relatives. Unlike the original, however, Luhrmann's version is set in the modern day, as opposed to the 14th century, though it retains the original Shakespearean English dialogue. Needless to say, both end in tragedy. 8. Carol, 2015. Based on the novel The Price of Salt by Patricia Highsmith, 2015's Carol presents the love affair between aspiring photographer Therese Bolivet, Rooney Mara, and glamorous older woman Carol Aird, Kate Blanchett, in 1950s New York. Taking place at a time when homosexuality was not only frowned upon, but outlawed, the film follows the pair as they find subtle and discreet ways of communicating their affection for one another while existing in a world that deems their relationship taboo. Directed by acclaimed filmmaker Todd Haynes, it received overwhelmingly positive reviews from critics upon its release in theaters. 7. The Graduate, 1967. Mike Nichols' The Graduate is the film many people will think of when they hear the term forbidden love. The 1967 comedy drama was both a critical and commercial success when it was first released in theaters and is still looked upon favorably today. In it, Dustin Hoffman plays a recent college graduate named Benjamin Braddock, who begins an affair with Mrs. Robinson and Bancroft, a much older married woman. To complicate things further, Benjamin then begins to develop feelings for Mrs. Robinson's daughter, Elaine, Catherine Ross. Based on the novel of the same name by Charlie Webb, the film won Best Picture at the 40th Academy Awards in 1968. 6. Lars and the Real Girl, 2007. Forbidden love comes in many different ways, but possibly the most bizarre example ever put on screen comes in the form of 2007's Lars and the Real Girl. Directed by Craig Gillespie of I, Tanya and Cruella fame, the film stars Ryan Gosling as a naive man who develops a romantic relationship with a sex doll named Bianca. To the bewilderment and concern of his friends and family, Lars treats the doll like she is a real human woman, introducing her to the people of the town as his girlfriend. 5. Pride and Prejudice, 2005. Adapted from Jane Austen's 1813 literary classic, Joe Wright's big-screen adaptation of Pride and Prejudice stars Keira Knightley and Matthew Macfadyen in the primary roles of Elizabeth Bennet and Mr. Darcy, respectively. The period drama, which is set in the early 19th century, concerns an eligible bachelor with class, wealth, and considerable status who reluctantly falls in love with a woman of a lower social status. Due to their disparate backgrounds, their love is put to the ultimate test. Surrounded by disapproving eyes, Mr. Darcy faces doubts about their flourishing relationship due to perceived social differences, and the societal shame brought upon him by embarking on a relationship with a woman ostensibly beneath him. The pair must vanquish the issues of pride and prejudice at hand if their romance is to last. 4. Titanic, 1997. Given that it broke the record for the highest-grossing movie of all time when it was released in 1997, James Cameron's Titanic might just be the most appropriately named movie of all time. Yet, despite its big budget, impressive box office takings, and lengthy runtime, the film is a straightforward tale of forbidden love. Set on the doomed RMS Titanic, the story centers on the brief relationship between a third-class passenger and artist named Jack Dawson, Leonardo DiCaprio, and the aristocratic Rose DeWitt Bukater, Kate Winslet, who quickly fall in love before encountering disaster. 3. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, 1967. As well as age and social class, race is one of the other main reasons a romantic relationship may be considered forbidden. That's certainly the case in the 1967 comedy-drama Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Set against the backdrop of the civil rights movement, Stanley Kramer's acclaimed film revolves around a young white woman named Joey Drayton, Catherine Houghton, who brings her fiancé, John, Sidney Poitier, home to meet her parents, Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. To their surprise and initial dismay, John is a black widower. As the film progresses, the older couple's attitudes are challenged as they slowly come to accept their daughter's new lover. 2. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, 2019. French period piece, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, or Portrait de la jeune fille en feu, was met with acclaim when it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival in 2019, where it won the award for Best Screenplay. The film, which is set on the island of Brittany in the 18th century, tells the story of aristocrat Heloise, Adele Haenel, who commissions a painter named Marianne, Noémie Merlant, to paint her wedding portrait. The two eventually embark on an intense lesbian love affair. 1. Brokeback Mountain, 2005. Adapted from the short story of the same name by Annie Proulx, Ang Lee's Brokeback Mountain was considered a groundbreaking movie when it first hit theaters in the winter of 2005. Starring Jake Gyllenhaal alongside the late Heath Ledger, the film centers on Jack and Ennis, two cowboys in Wyoming, who develop romantic feelings for one another. Taking place over 20 years, it follows the pair from young adults to fully grown men with wives and families as their feelings for one another brew beneath the surface and threatens to destroy the lives they have created for themselves. The film garnered overwhelmingly positive reviews from critics and went on to be nominated for a total of 8 Academy Awards.